My presentation today is about the importance of the Electoral College. Now we have to go back in time to the time when the Founding Fathers first established the United States of America, when they wrote the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, all critical documents. But when it came to the type of government we had, the founders were very specific. They did not want a democracy. And democracy is used, the term is used a lot today because everybody says, oh, we're a democracy because we have freedom and we have choice and everything. But a true democracy is a rule by the majority. When asked about democracy, the Founding Fathers had some very important statements to make so that no one would misunderstand the type of government the U.S. had. Alexander Hamilton asserted that we are now forming a republican form of government. Real liberty is not found in the extremes of democracy, but in moderate governments. If we incline too much to democracy, we shall soon shoot into a monarchy or some other form of dictatorship. In one of the last letters he ever wrote, he warned, "Our real disease is democracy." It's pretty plain. Mr. Hamilton knew the dangers of democracy. Throughout history, we've seen them basically destroy themselves through the rule of mob. Thomas Jefferson was quoted as saying, "A democracy is nothing more than mob rule, where 51% of the people may take away the rights of the other 49%. Benjamin Franklin famously said, "Democracy is two wolves and a lamb voting on what to have for lunch." Think about that, because too many times in the U.S. we see where the popular vote is ignored in favor of the electoral vote. And a lot of people are confused and say, well, it's obviously the Electoral College is not fair, we should do away with it. The importance of the Electoral College comes down to pointing out that just because the popular vote is the majority, the electoral vote is a more representative view of the entire country. When we look at populations, this is where the democracy falls down. We can take 10 states out of our 50 U.S. states. Those 10 states dwarf the population of the other 40. 10 states together equal the same population as the other 40. So, in theory, those 10 states could hold a majority and outweigh what is important to the rest of the country. No one wants this. The point of a republic is to avoid this majority mob rule. So this is where the Electoral College comes in. A few electors from each state vote based on the will of the state. Now, states with more people get more electors. States with less people, less electors. So it still leans towards the larger states having more say-so, but it gives an equal footing so that smaller states have an equal voice. If you live in New Hampshire, your voice is just as important as the person that lives in Southern California. So, we look at the democracy that everyone talks about on the news, and we look at the calls for the abandonment of the Electoral College. And while a person in Southern California would agree that the Electoral College is unfair, the person that lives in Montana would not agree that it is unfair because it gives their voice just as much importance as the person that lives in New York City, as it should be and as it was designed. James Madison said, pure democracies have ever been spectacles of turbulence and contention, have ever been incompatible with personal security or the rights of property, and have in general been as short in their lives as they have been violent in their deaths. This is important to note. Moving from there, we can then take this same rule and look at the state levels, where in the beginning, senators were chosen by the state legislature, so they were more equally representative of the state. Now, the senators are chosen by popular vote. This is in direct contradiction to the Constitution. It was amended, so it is legal, and this is the rule of law now. But we look at a state like Virginia with 2 senators, and we look at 2 senators that are representative of 3 districts in the entire state. The other 90-something counties matter just as much as the 3 districts. So why is it that our state is represented by only 3 districts? This, again, is in direct contradiction of what the Founding Fathers established with the Republic. The governor, the lieutenant governor, are also chosen in this popular vote method. This also goes against what the Founding Fathers wanted. To have a governor of a state represent only 3 districts ignores the will of the rest of the state. Someone that lives in Fairfax, Virginia, deserves an equal voice, just like the person that lives in a small town like Galix, Virginia. Unfortunately, with the popular vote system, the person in Galix's voice is not heard over the voice of people that live in Northern Virginia, Richmond, Virginia, or even here in Hampton Roads. So it's important that we maintain the Electoral College, as well as possibly expanding it to state levels to further represent the people that the officials are elected to represent. Thank you.